Welcome to Better Than Yesterday. We're really excited to have you here today. Today's kind of a special episode. It's kind of a cross-promotional of two different podcasts. So we've got the host of the Be Great Academy with us today, our homie Vinny. Thank you for showing up here today.
Hey, what up, Big B?
I'm honored, man. I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're stoked to have you here because your story is a story of, I think, something that everybody hopes to do, right? We all have these different dreams, but we can get stuck in the rat race of life, which kind of holds us back from doing the things we really want to do. But doing those things that we really want to do, that's why we're here. That's our purpose, right?
Right.
And
Absolutely.
so
The big picture.
That's the big picture, right? And we can get ourselves bogged down in the details of life, the paying the bills, and before you know it, that dream has passed us by.
Right.
Yeah.
So can you talk to us a little bit about what you're doing, how your podcast came about, and then we'll just roll from there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. First, I just wanted to say thank you to you guys for even having me today. It's an opportunity and a blessing for me as well, too, just sitting here beside you guys. I know I've known you for a while since being out here in Vegas.
My boy, yeah.
Even just being someone that supported me with everything I've done, from being at Neiman and also being at the gym, I just wanted to make sure I just showed you guys my gratitude first.
Man, bro.
But to kind of give you guys my backstory from Be Great Academy podcast, the way it started was I was actually working at Neiman Marcus prior to this. I was there for almost 3 years. And a lot of people, if you know me on social media, it's Vinny Vegas. My entire social media was
You was running it up
through Neiman Marcus. You know what I mean? So like I would wake up, I'm posting stuff. At night, if you go to my page, like it really wasn't too much personal stuff. It literally all was Neiman.
You had the whole layouts, fit,
Yes,
check,
yes.
shoes. I'm telling you, yeah. You was doing your thing. I seen it, yeah.
And so I tried to put it all together, and I say all of that to say, man, like fast forward, me being there 3 years this past November, it was actually unfortunate I got let go from Neiman. And when it happened, it put me in a space where I'm like mentally, I don't even know how to get back on social media right now.
Yeah.
My entire page and my entire following is built off of people knowing that I work at Neiman Marcus. And so for me, it truly was a hard situation, just trying to figure out, like, do I just stay off of social media for a while? And a lot of people didn't even pay attention, but I stayed off for probably like 3 or 4 weeks at that point. Like, I really wasn't posting anything. I didn't know what to post at that moment.
Right.
And so for me, it was tough. But then I started thinking, like, what can I do with the resources that I have, with the networks that I've built while being at Neiman?
Yeah.
Because I always talk to, like, the players that I've worked with, or just kids that I've mentored, or coworkers that I have that have worked for me in the past.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here thinking, there's a lot of people watching me. And so I can allow this to affect me in a negative way, or I can try to turn this around into a positive. And that's what it turned into, me really planning about the podcast. And to give you an idea, Be Great Academy is a podcast. We'll be covering the WNBA. While working in Neiman Marcus, I was able to actually build relationships with some of the players on the Aces, or Sydney Colson. She plays for the Indiana Fever. Shout out to Sid. We love you to death. Shout out to Amadi as well.
Yeah, keep balling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Those two were the ones who really introduced me into the WNBA, honestly.
Right.
And it's funny, like, we were there one day at, I want to say 30 minutes close to closing. And when she came in, I kind of recognized her because me and my wife had been going to the Aces games.
Right.
But when it clicked, I was like, Ashley, I'm not going to blow your cover, I would take care of you. Like,
Yeah, that's what's up.
And so it led to, like, with Amadi being the stylist for the Aces, she introduced me to a couple more of the players, and I was able to help them out. And so when I got done, I'm thinking, how can I take this and make the best out of it? Right. I love basketball. Anyone who follows me, they see me hooping 24/7.
Let me tell you something. Don't bring a ball around this man unless you want to be crossed over. I've seen every video. I've seen it probably twice. Don't do it. I'm telling you.
It's funny. I laugh. Some people are like, do you play basketball? I'm like, nah, I hoop. There's a difference.
Yeah,
okay?
no. Listen. Yes, you get down, bro. I'm telling you, for real.
So I think that when I listen to you talk about that, one of the things I think about is the feeling that your identity is found in what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of us wrestle with that feeling of, like, who am I if I'm not this?
And you know what? And I don't mean to cut you off, but I think one thing that you said that was huge was sort of the fact that, yes, we all have bills to pay. We all have lives that we have to do, but don't get lost in that mundane of everyday, just the ABC. You know what I mean?
Right.
We have to strive for a bigger picture. We have to go for the bigger goals. You know what I mean? You don't want to just the last thing you want to have in life. Last thing I want to have is regrets.
Right.
I don't want to look back and be like, man, I wish I had tried that, or I wish I had spent more time, or I would rather go hard now and it not work and try something else,
right,
and be like, hey, you know what? At least I tried it.
Right.
Then at the end of the day.
So how did you overcome? So you said you took some time off of it. During that time in that process, like, I would imagine, if you feel like you're known to be this guy and now you're getting ready to present yourself as this guy, what was that in between stage like for you? Like, what were you wrestling through? What was that process like?
It was tough initially just because everybody knew me as Vinny Vegas. And so, like, I'm trying to figure out how do I post anything without Neiman being involved and people not questioning me, or like, for example, there's still people now that message me and it's like, hey, can you get these shoes for me? Or like, hey, can you get this? I haven't posted anything in 2 months for me.
Right.
But that's how much people know me as being a Neiman Marcus. And so initially it was tough, but I just had to realize, like, I knew prior to me going to Neiman, I was a completely separate individual.
Right.
And I couldn't allow that to dictate who I was going forward. And so it really just got back to me figuring out, like, what is it that I love? And that's how basketball came into play. My networks with the WNBA came into play, and I just put the two together. And just truthfully speaking, I know the WNBA, when it comes to them getting social media coverage, especially by males, 90% of it is disrespectful.
Right.
Like, let's just be honest.
No, that's
There's
real.
not a
Right.
lot of
No,
people that's
that's
putting
real.
them on in a very positive light.
Which
and
is
so
crazy.
I figured that's where I come
Which is
into
crazy.
play.
Which is crazy, you know?
Yeah.
And so for me, it was cool because I really just I more so want to protect the players more than anything. They're all kind of like family to me.
Right.
Not just me, my wife as well. She's best friends with a lot of the players that I meet. Pretty much every player I know, she knows.
Right.
And so even for that, when we are bringing people onto the show, it's not just random players that I just grabbed off the court. Like, for example, we interviewed Tasha Cloud. She's the starting point guard for the New York Liberty. Ooh. She was down there in Unraveled as well. And even when we've sat down on multiple occasions and we just talk, about life, about family, everything outside of basketball.
Right.
And so I figured, how can I just put me as a genuine human being in front of everyone and make it make sense? And the podcast have almost just kind of fallen in place. Even being here today, I feel like everything happens for a reason. If I'm still at Neiman, you don't reach out to me and ask me to do this because you don't know what I can do when it comes to podcasts because you wouldn't have seen it.
Right.
So I feel like everything truly does happen for a reason.
Right.
100%.
Right. And it's funny because I was like, when I was talking to Adam and we were going through guests and everything, I was like, let's get my boy Vinny on there. And I was like, just because he's just a positive dude. And I was like, we'll catch up with him. And one of the things that I love about being older and having positive, successful friends is that you don't have to. We all have lives. We got kids, we got jobs, we got we got taking trips and everything. So it's like we don't have to connect every day on an everyday basis. But when we do connect, it's always love, it's always positive, and always looking out for each other. You know what I mean? And so I definitely wanted to bring you on. And I feel like people can resonate with you, and they could relate to you. I think that we were talking about earlier, the reason why this podcast is so successful and it's going to be so successful in the future is because we're not faking the fun. Right. Like, this is what we literally talk about day in, day out. Yeah. This is what we believe in. This is, we believe in going to the gym. We believe in positivity. We believe in lifting each other up. And so it's authentic.
Yeah.
It's not fake. It's not, you know what I mean? And so it resonates with people because you could tell that we genuinely care about it. Yeah. And I feel that way. I think it's crazy the way that things happen. But it's funny because if anybody were to ask me what Vinny was going to do, I'd be like, probably something with basketball. Because that's what I see. That's what I see for you. You know what I mean? That's why I see you doing your thing and everything. So it's like, it's cool to see that even though sometimes the path that we tend to get on isn't the one that we had drawn out for ourselves, or the path that we thought, God has a funny way of making things
100%.
happen, Yeah.
How do you stay, you're a positive, like Oliver's like, he's a positive guy, you got good energy. How do you, we talk a lot about it, like, how do you stay positive when life isn't so positive? Like, what do you do? What's your support system like? How do you keep yourself performing? Because let's be honest, if you take a hit, lose a job, I'm sure listeners out there are going to be people who can relate to that. For sure. That's a hit, man. And so
and it's a scary hit.
It's a scary. It can be a really scary hit depending
Absolutely.
on your situation.
For sure.
And it can be really easy to just curl up, and you know what I
Give
mean,
up.
and give up. How do you get out of bed, stay positive in spite of maybe the uncertainty or the disappointment or whatever?
I mean, honestly, for me, it's one thing, and I know everybody has different answers, but I truly have the most amazing wife in the world. And
Shout out.
anyone who knows me, they know that when you see me, you see her. And 9 times out of 10, if I'm somewhere, she's right beside me. And when she's not, the first question I get is, "Where's Deanna?"
Yes.
I went home for Christmas to go surprise my
amazing,
niece and nephew. I surprised them. I give them a hug. This is my first time seeing them all year, or basically since the beginning of the year. The first thing they asked me was, "Is Auntie Deanna coming?" I'm like, "Okay, well, it's nice to see y'all."
They know.
I'll see myself out.
They know,
Absolutely.
yeah.
But honestly, that woman is literally my
Shout out
ride or
to
die.
D.
Like,
I love that.
there
Shout
are
out to
so
D.
many
I love
days
that.
where I came home from Neiman Marcus and I was going through. That was honestly the hardest 3 years I've had working at any job my entire life.
Right.
I just being transparent.
Was it the commission, or was it just like what made it? You know what I mean? Because that's got to be harder too. It's got to be hard when you.
Uncertain.
It's not easy to go to a job when you know you're getting paid every day.
Absolutely.
So imagine a job where it's like based on sales or performance. Especially, I know that you got the gift of gab and you do, but like in the beginning, was that hard for you to deal with? Is that something that?
No, the commission wasn't the issue at all. I've worked sales jobs, and I'm one of those, you have to know what you're signing up for. So me going into a commission job, I knew that it was going to be a struggle right out the gate. But it's one of those things, as long as you plan right, you're set up for that. But the commission wasn't the hardest part. It's funny. I love the commission. I love my clients to death. Just the interactions and meeting people who have never bought designer before. Or when I have kids that come in and they buy their first pair of Purple Brand jeans or their first pair of designer shoes. Don't get me wrong, like, it costs a crazy amount, but it's dope being able to be there and help them go through that.
Right.
The hardest part was I truly was going back and forth with HR over a workplace retaliation thing. And it just became a thing where I know they were trying to get me out because I stood on what I stood on.
Yeah.
And when I felt like I was being done wrong, I'm going to tell you that.
Right.
And I'm just trying to do my job at the end of the day. Like, I'm not asking to be best friends with y'all, but like, we should be able to support each other.
We should be,
Yep.
we should be able to be cordial. Like, we don't got to like each other, but we should be able to be a team when we go to work, because the more money we make, the more money everybody makes. Yeah. But unfortunately, people don't see it like that.
And don't get me wrong, like, there are some great people that work in Neiman Marcus. I want to be clear, like, I'm not bashing the entire company. There's great people that work there. My boy Brandon that still works there. I send a lot of my clients to him. Marcus has been in shoes. He's been there for, almost 20 years. So there are great people, but there are a few, all it takes is 2 or 3. And for me, that really just put me in a very tough spot mentally. So when I did get let go, I honestly, I struggled in a sense of, how am I going to get through this? You know what I mean? But having her beside me every day, she's like, "Baby, you got this. Like, baby, we just got to keep going." And as much as it may sound repetitive to me, and some mornings I might not want to hear it, I need that.
Yeah.
Right.
And for her to just continue every single day, and she's like, "All right, well, what's next? What are we going to do?" And so even when I started planning a podcast, her biggest thing is I have to make it make sense. And so talking about it is one thing, but once I started putting it down on paper and I'm like showing her plans and I'm like, this is what we're planning on doing, I felt her get behind me even more, and that's all that I need. That's the battery for me.
I can relate to that so much. I'm big
thing.
on that. Like, my wife and I, we joke around. We're like, she's like, I'm not a girl's girl, I'm a husband's girl, and I'm like a wife. We just roll together. I mean, Oliver, we roll together all the time. Best friend in the world. And I had that same feeling. Like, I'd wanted to do a podcast for years. Like, I was doing some personal coaching and stuff like that with some clients, and was out there, positivity, doing that stuff. And I just felt, I'm like, I really want to do a podcast, but it wasn't right at the time. Right? I'm like, I don't want to do it solo. I should have a host. Like, what am I going to talk about? Is it going to be there? Like, what, you know what I mean? Yeah. And Eliza was like, yeah, a podcast would be cool. But Sam is just like, that ain't it. That one, that ain't it. Right? And so I always was like, but then when we were chopping up and he's like, and I went to Eliza, she's like, that's the one. Yeah. You've laid, okay, got it. And she's one of the biggest supporters. She helps with the brand and does so much stuff for us. So I can totally relate. The power of the partner you choose is so important
Can make
to
or
building
break.
a successful life.
It can make or break.
Absolutely.
It can make or break. It's either somebody that's bringing something to the table with you, or it's somebody that's taking from the table. You know what I mean?
Right.
And even in situations where, like, I have to go to work, I know that my daughter is with my girl taken care of. You know what I mean? So I'm not spending any energy thinking, is my daughter okay? I can focus everything on what I got to do. So that's, you know what I mean? And she does even more stuff. I'm just saying that's just a bare example. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, the person that you have with you could make or break your success. And so I'm glad that you got the right one, man. You know,
Absolutely.
it's a beautiful thing. What is something that you want to share with our listeners about something that they could get from your podcast? What they're going to be getting from your podcast, where they could find your podcast?
So the first thing, where to find a podcast, we're on all social media platforms at BGA Pod. That stands for Be Great Academy Podcast. But the biggest thing that I want everyone to get from it is really that motivation and that fire to keep going. I kind of mentioned to you guys, I do a Motivational Monday segment, and I'm glad you guys do it as well,
Yes,
too.
sir.
I love
Motivational
that.
Monday,
Please,
baby.
whatever you
Yeah.
do, keep that up.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause
Got to
it's
start the week right.
And not only that, but a lot of the times what you're going through, there's a lot of other people that need to hear the exact same thing.
Amen.
And it hits different when it comes from someone that you weren't expecting to say it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, like, I think even for me doing my first one this week, there was a lot of people that was like, hey, I just started my job, and it was a brand new leap of faith. Shout out to Susie. I hope it's going well for you. But I mean, like, even that, like, I'm glad that I did it. And so, like, I would say the biggest thing would be for people to get that motivation and that drive. And it's funny, like, I always mention, I've coached players, I've trained players. I never wish my kids good luck. That's one thing I know they're never getting from me, because it shouldn't take that.
Right.
If you prepare and you do everything you're supposed to do, all you got to do is be great at the end of the day. So for me, my motto is you got two options. That's be great or be great. As long as you're doing one or two, you good.
You're great.
You would never hear me wish you good luck.
Yeah.
You know, but that's what I want people to get, is that fire and that motivation. And I just hope that the next person that sees it, when they're just almost struggling, wondering if they should take a chance on themselves, that they really just take that jump. That's my biggest thing, is like, you just have to bet on yourself sometimes.
You gotta bet on you gotta bet on yourself. You gotta bet on yourself. You gotta be able to invest in yourself, and you gotta be able to trust the process. You know, some things can happen overnight. Most things don't.
Yeah.
Right.
But consistency is the key. And what was that saying? That consistency looks like nothing is happening until everything changes.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So
100%.
we don't focus on views, we don't focus on followers, we just focus on putting out this positive message. Right. And we know that eventually it's gonna cross over to enough ears, and we're gonna be taking it to a different level and everything. Yeah. And I love the fact that you're doing that with your podcast and your motivation, and also, and obviously, you know, it's crazy because it might be something that you're just doing to better yourself and better your life and better your life with your girl. But like you said, shout out to Susie. People are looking, and you're also changing their lives and making them feel like they're able to.
Absolutely.
Which is a beautiful thing.
And I think that's the best part for me. Like, perfect example, not to go too much into it, but this past weekend I introduced my new co-host. And it actually is I call her basically my baby. She is my cousin. Yeah. She's my baby cousin. She's only 21, so she's almost like a little sister to me.
Yeah.
And so we introduced her as the co-host this weekend in Miami. And so this was her first time ever being in front of a camera, ever sitting down with athletes. And even then, when we first talked about it, we had never had that plan. I used to just call her, and she would just give me her opinion, give me her advice. And when I went home during Christmas, she started playing around in the car and was just like acting like she was interviewing players. I was like, actually, let's sit down and figure this out.
Hold on a second, because
and it takes a village.
Yeah, you know? And I say that to say, when we saw it, I let her sit down and interview one of the players in Miami, and she only did like 5 minutes. Granted, my interview was almost an hour and a half.
Yeah.
When I got the footage of her interview, me and her watched it in the car in Miami, and I almost teared up. Like, I was so happy for her because I really saw the light shine in her.
Yeah.
And I felt like that's what you need to really keep going. And even having her look at me and be like, Vinny, I appreciate it. Like, I needed this. That's what the podcast is for. It's so much more than basketball. It's so much more than just social media. Like, I really want everyone to feel that motivation.
I love that, because here's the funny thing. Going back a little bit full circle of the people who are afraid to take that jump to pursue the things that they're passionate about. It's not just to make your life better.
Yeah.
you don't know who else is going to benefit because you took that risk. So when you're afraid to make that jump to pursue that dream, not doing that ripple effect, you know what I mean? Like everything you're saying here is about, you're doing your thing, but literally everything you're talking about is what you're doing for other people.
Right.
And I think when we start to align ourselves with our passions, that's when, there's that saying, it's like, oh, there's no such thing as a selfless act or no selfless good deed or whatever that is. It's like, that's because we're created to do the things that make us feel good and make other people feel good, right? And so the thing that I love hearing here is that you took a risk, you hit your roadblock, you bet on yourself, you took a risk, you're feeling personally fulfilled, and you're helping Susie, you're helping your cousin, you're helping, look at the ripple effect, all because you first took that step. And so that's what I think for everybody out there that's listening is, it's not just about you. It's about us. It's about a community. It's about who we can impact when we decide to bet on ourselves.
Absolutely, man. Well, we appreciate you, Vinny. Thank you for your time, my man. Thank you for being on the podcast. You want to give another shout out just to all the platforms so they know where they could find your podcast and everything? And
absolutely. Yeah. Before I do, I just want to shout out you guys again, man. I love what you guys are doing right here, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart.
Appreciate you, brother.
One thing I've always respected about you, and it just speaking transparently, is like when you first see you, like you see tattoos, and so you really don't know what you're getting.
Right.
And the first conversation I had with him, I was like, this is the complete opposite. So for me, and I'm just being real, like being a black man, having tattoos, and even same thing for you, bro. Like seeing tattoos, like you don't know what you're gonna get, but sitting down with you guys, like we're talking about two of the most genuine human beings that you can be beside. And so seeing what you guys are doing, like I really do pray that you guys get everything you want from this. Likewise. Shout out to your wife for supporting it, because I know how much that means. Same for you. Yeah. I know how much that means.
Shout out to D too, man.
Yes.
It takes a village, and
shout out to Mrs. Jones. You know we love you.
Yeah, man. And we appreciate you, and we appreciate your time, and we will definitely have you on another episode.
Yeah, man. I definitely want to do a check-in, as the podcast keeps going and keeps growing. Like, we would love to have you come back and just share some of the cool stories and the way you're transforming people's lives.
Absolutely, and vice versa. My podcast is all about positivity, so I want to bring you guys on and have you guys also do the same. I'm here for it. But you guys can follow us at BGA Pod on Instagram, TikTok, on YouTube. It's Be Great Academy Podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, and be honest with us. We want that honest feedback in the comments. We're here for all of it.
All of it.
Awesome.
All of it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you guys. Better than yesterday.
Better than yesterday.